It's May 28th, 2026, and for this documentary entry that I am doing daily and have been since 2019, the confusion and the mayhem that's been coordinated by people. I summarize it as psychiatric terrorism because of the systematic dysfunction that's organized by individuals tax-funded and trusted. They create terrorism through the psychiatric foundation of our medical industrial complex. And despite the big word salads that I compulsively toss, they're misusing the courts with medical fraud, and they're attacking people that have medical vulnerabilities by hiding their actual medical condition from the courts. Then they're getting unlawful rulings that allow them to operate with immunity from prosecution as they manipulate the people that are impaired, the court doesn't know is impaired. This is systematic dysfunction, attacking people psychologically with psychological violence so that they're unknowingly trusting tax-funded sources and individuals. And by trusting them, they're being misled, to create themselves problems and prevent recovery, prevent stability, prevent the things that they need for proper recovery is the tactical approach of these people employed by the state. So the systematic dysfunction that they're coordinating knowingly is to intercept the Health and Human Services funding that's being delegated for those people. They mislead the people, misinform the courts, misinform the communities, and then they intercept everything with banking fraud they established from Health and Human Services using the person's medical identity and their vulnerability of impairment so they don't know it. People from ANADNOC Developmental Services would just show up, ask to sign things, knowing I can't remember what I sign. I have no choice but to trust the people that what they're putting in front of me and I'm signing is going to be what they say it is. None of it was. Every single bit was to cover the attack that began while the patient of a hospital, and this is factual, not emotional stuff. The attack began while I was in the hospital by my blood parents, coordinating it with the traumatic brain injury contractor who was well-versed, well-educated, and well-experienced with this procedure. Manipulating the courts about patients of hospitals to get them misfiled and then misdirected once released from the hospitals, and them having control over them, knowing what their medical condition is, but nobody else does. So my parents teamed up with the Peterborough resident, Tim Donovan, who was the traumatic brain injury contractor of Robin Hill Farm and my customer of North Summit Builders on the day of injury. I had met him the year before it happened, had done some work for him, thought things were fine. Shared a tremendous amount of plans with him about turning my property 67 Summer Street into Scratch Cafe and Catering initially. After the injury is when the idea of Farm to Fork Academy came, through my daughter Hannah, who has recently passed. From this psychiatric terrorism format, her being found across the street with a very questionable death, much like my injury was very questionable. I talk about these things because I don't have a choice but to face this. The reality of my situation, what Patrick Rushalko told Peterborough police, is not possibly true. They know that. They know that I know that. They won't tell me anything except it's a felony investigation now. And that's it. So it's confirmed that what Patrick told them is a lie. What actually happened that day, he's the only witness. And he's already told the police something that wasn't true. They know it. He was covering other people stealing property, insurance settlements, liquidating the business. Everyone knows that too. Nobody will do a thing but continue protecting Roger LeCompte, Lynn Howard, and Tim Donovan that began this attack while I was a patient of St. Joe's Hospital in 2015. Actually prior. 2014, when I was still at UMass, is when they really began it. Because that was when they made their plans to have me transferred to St. Joe's in Nashua. And then used the systematic dysfunction already in place that Tim was experienced with through Robin Hill Farm as a traumatic brain injury contractor. To misuse the courts, how to misuse the courts. So they began the planning while I was in the coma 2014, because that's when the first filings began by Roger and Lynn. And then from that, the cascading filings, following transfer from UMass to St. Joe's, Roger and Lynn got sovereignty over me because I was their biological son while in a coma. They did this through rulings while I was at UMass Medical. And then immediately coming out of the coma, they transferred me far premature to St. Joe's in Nashua, and had connections of Tim hide my medical information so that when I was at St. Joe's, my actual medical condition was not known. Wheel into probate court, I could speak like a medical anomaly, So they wheeled me in, told me to tell the judge you can take care of yourself because I had no idea what was going on. So I guess I said, yes, I can take care of myself. Apparently, in the testimony, I even stood up because I could stand up and hold on to a building. I guess I stood up from my wheelchair, trying to proudly say I'm going to be fine. The cluelessness of my injury is what is clear. The facts they hid the medical information so that Honorable Judge Quigley couldn't take it into consideration is also clear. The fact that every single employee agency since this has happened, including Peterborough PD, every single outlet of New Hampshire, tax-funded and trusted, that has been brought this information and asked for assistance with the felony assault I've been under by my blood parents and a pair of Peterborough residents, being Tim Donovan and Jolene Rogers, every single outlet has protected them by attacking more. Every single bit. So the systematic dysfunction and the psychiatric terrorism is the result of me seeing what they've done in these years I can't remember, and the years I began asking for help, how their approach is to protect the criminals that are attacking our medically impaired for theft from the federal government. Collectively, they play pretend that they're going to enforce the law, that they're going to help people that are impaired. They're helping the criminals that are attacking us and making sure they're not going to get caught. As they help people that are tax-funded and trusted as well, destroy the very lives of the people that they're funded and trusted to fucking protect for theft. So that's the shit I got to deal with every day, and not drop so many F-bombs when I talk about it publicly.